Hi, and welcome back to Truce Talks. We have a very special guest today from Local First Arizona, the largest community sort of gathering place. Helene Tack is here. Helene is the Director of Sustainability Initiatives. She's been with Local First Arizona for 11 years. Helene knows what's going on. Welcome, Helene. Thanks for
Hi,
coming.
it's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm very, very excited because, of course, we are a green business with Local First Arizona. Tell us a little bit about the program and how you got started doing why the decision was made to start focusing and featuring green businesses.
Sure, yeah, happy to. So Local First Arizona is a coalition of locally owned businesses. As you said, Diane, it's the largest in the country. We have over
Yeah.
3,000 members. We work statewide, businesses of all types in industries and sizes. The key determinant there is that they are locally owned. So they're headquartered here in Arizona. The owner lives here. They're not publicly traded. And really what we're talking about with the local movement is that business, when you support a local business, more money stays here in our local economy. So that's very important, of course. With the Green Business Program, we, from day one when Local First was founded, sustainability was always a core tenet. But there was so much work to be done in so many other areas that I got shelved for a little bit. So I'd say about 4 years ago, we really started looking at sustainability with our business members. What were they doing? What were they not doing? What did they want to do? How were they struggling or
Mhm.
succeeding in different areas? And how could a program or how could our organization help? At the core of what we're doing is we're helping prepare businesses for the future. We want to see our local businesses here for 10, 20, 50, 100 years. So when we think about the things they're going to be facing in the future, climate change is definitely an issue. So how can we get them ahead of the curve? How can we help embed that resiliency factor into their operations so when there are potential restrictions or challenges in the future that they're prepared for it?
Well, what kind of questions are you asking people as you go through? What are you learning that they
Sure.
need?
So the first step that we took when kind of determining what does a sustainability program look like is we just started
Mhm.
talking to our businesses. I mean, we can come up with ideas on our own, but we really rely on the business feedback for
Mhm.
what they need and what they want to be doing and
Yeah.
how we can help them. So we started really just asking some basic questions like, do you recycle? And if you don't, why not? And, how can we help implement that? And we found that the vast majority of the businesses wanted to be doing more in the sustainability realm or something in the sustainability realm, but they didn't know how and they didn't have time. Those were the top two answers that we got.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very
So
interesting.
the don't have time, we understand that very well. We're dealing with a lot of businesses that are in the small to medium size range, and they're wearing all the hats. They're doing the marketing, they're doing the product development, they're doing the research, they're doing the janitorial work, they're doing really everything from an owner perspective. So they truly don't have time. The don't know how response, that is another one. If you don't have time to research, it gets shelved pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So we are really fortunate in Arizona. There's a lot of amazing people working on sustainability initiatives. There's a lot of great programs that exist, so we can help try to connect businesses to some of those programs. So we really saw ourselves as being able to connect resources to do some of that research and problem solving, and really to be a trusted resource that the businesses know we have their back. We're in it to help them, and how can we help move them forward with
And
that?
that's been really critical. That was very, very helpful to us. Knowing you were building such a program was like, yes, yes, let's have some focus on it because climate change ain't going away. And
Right.
we need to prepare for that. You're so right.
Yeah. And then, another key piece that we work on at Local First is we work on the consumer and citizen perspective.
Mhm.
So, we're here to support and promote locally owned businesses, but we also need to educate the community about what happens when you spend your dollars at a local business. So we are applying that same approach with the Green Business Program, where we're, helping the businesses, providing them some resources, but then we're also housing a list and a directory where people can find businesses that are certified for their green practices easily. We looked at a lot of programs when we started this journey,
Yeah.
and we found a great one that came out of California. It's the California Green Business Program. So we were able to work with them and adapt that software and database. So we have an online directory where people can search by business. We have a mobile app where they can find businesses easily. So just trying to make it really easy for the consumer to find a business that they support, that is, ethically and morally aligned with their values.
And I think most companies really want to be. You're right. They want to be if they just had the time, if they had those sort of wind beneath their wings to help them accomplish that. Is there any movement sort of going on between ASU School of Sustainability in terms of providing some kind of support and direction for businesses to go greener?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been working closely with the School of Sustainability for many years. We've had quite a few interns come through and help us each semester at Local First. And actually, one of my previous interns, Cassie Lubnow, she was an amazing asset to kind of get this program up off the ground. She helped pilot it with me. She's now working in Bend, Oregon, with the city there. So we've had a really great time working with students. And there's a lot of interest, I know, from students to be working more closely with businesses. They get a great education with the ASU programs, but then coming into a business situation or working on an internship directly with a business, that gives them that real world experience, which can be pretty eye-opening. We've been working with ASU on a bunch of different other programs as well. Most recently, we're trying to think through maybe what a carbon offset program looks like locally. If you're not familiar with, carbon offset programs there, they essentially address the idea that no matter how sustainable or how green you are as a business, you're always going to have some negative impact from a carbon perspective. So there's a lot of organizations, there's groups like TerraPass that, you can purchase carbon offsets to, that it goes to usually clean energy or tree planting, things along that line to offset some of your emissions. But there's really not a lot locally. And that's one of the questions that we found when we were working with businesses through the Green Business Program is people said, oh, can I invest in something here locally? So we're trying to work on that. It's a big idea, but we're having some good conversations around that. So stay tuned. There might be a local carbon offset for you in the future.
Love it. Love it. I also noticed I was looking at the green businesses that have been certified up to this point, and among them is the city of Tempe. What role is Tempe playing with Local First Arizona to get green businesses recognized and supported?
Sure. So we've been working really closely with the city of Tempe. They really allowed us to launch this program. We got some funding from their innovation grant to run the Green Business Program in Tempe for 3 years. And what that funding does is it subsidizes the businesses, so the businesses do not have to pay a fee to go through. The city went through the program as part of our pilot, so we could, kind of fine tune some things, but also to represent that they are also working on sustainability initiatives in their operations. I think that's one of the key things. They're doing a lot of great work around the climate action plans, but really understanding how their operations are acting in a sustainable manner and what they're working on and how they can help improve. They've been very engaged and very supportive. So we've had a lot of fun working with them. They're a huge operation. So by far, it's the biggest business that we've taken through. We worked on the City Hall building. That's that amazing upside down pyramid, Fifth Ave there in Tempe. And they're really doing a ton of great things in the building. So it's been fun to work with them.
And I know that they're super, super supportive of what you're doing and of working with Local First Arizona. I was talking with Lauren Kuby about that because that's her big emphasis as well, is sustainability. It's so very important.
Yeah.
Now, you've been with Local First Arizona for 11 years now. Before you picked up the Green Business Program, what were you doing with Local First Arizona? Because I've been talking to you for at least 11 years.
Yeah, it has been 11 years. It's been a long Good long run. So when I started, there were basically two employees at Local First Arizona. I was the second one.
No
And at
kidding.
that, yeah, at that time, Kimber Lanning, who is the executive director and founder, she was basically talking about wearing all the hats. She was wearing all the hats. So myself and Russ, who was the other employee, we both kind of just came in and took whatever we could off of Kimber's plate and tried to, set some structure to some of the programs that were already existing and think through what we could do, to grow the organization and, set some mission and guidelines around what we needed to be doing. So it was really, really fun to work on all that. I mean, I was working on organizing mixers and webinars and
I
newsletters.
remember.
It was a lot, but it was really exciting. It's still really exciting. I think the interesting piece now is all the ideas that we had 11 years ago. We're seeing them come into play. We're seeing them being developed into programs. So it's really cool when you take a step back and think, oh boy, this used to be an idea, and now it's actually a thriving program. And as I was saying in the beginning, that was the sustainability program from day one, was something we really wanted to do. But now we have the time and resources for it.
That's the thing about growing something. At first, it's so far down the line, but it's that little nucleus of an idea. This needs to be done, and we'll just do it. And you just hang with it bit by bit. And then one day you wake up and you got a program. You got a
Yeah.
program that's working, that's going forward. Oh, so I wanted to talk to you as well as a spokesperson for Local First Arizona. In terms of what's happening with the business, the local business closures, it seems to be the smaller businesses that are really being negatively impacted. Are you doing any kind of outreach or anything through Local First Arizona to be supportive, lend a shoulder, whatever needs to be done? What's the response at Local First Arizona?
Yeah, so it's been heartbreaking is the word that I come up with,
Yeah.
to what's happening with the COVID pandemic. We basically saw overnight businesses just have to completely shift. Watching businesses close their doors and
Yeah.
be uncertain about the future. It was pretty tough. It kind of started as like, well, maybe we should work from home, and we don't know if we're going to host this event. And then within a week of that, it was, boy, we're in real trouble. So it's been really amazing to be part of a team that can pivot so well and efficiently. Again, as our mission is here to support and promote those local businesses. So that was the first question, is what can we do? How do we help? And it really started with gathering resources, advocating on behalf of the local business community, connecting with leaders. Both Kimber Lanning and Thomas Barr, who are the executive directors of Local First, had worked overtime to make sure that the local business voice was heard on all decision making platforms. Kimber was on several of the governor's meetings that he was doing his updates to the public. She
Yeah.
was there to advocate on behalf of local businesses. So out of that came kind of a more formalized response, where we're in a triage, recovery, and resiliency phase to approach to this pandemic.
Oh.
Triage is obviously, we're trying to help whoever needs it the most right now, and a lot of that looks like we're doing business consultations. We started a micro grant program. We had over, I think, $1 million donated to this program to provide grants to small businesses where it was the business was really the sole income for the family. So we were able to provide funding to a lot of businesses across the state. I mean, there's a lot more need out there. Obviously, I don't know if we'll ever have enough money to help everybody, but we're trying our darndest to get funds in the hands of people that really need it. That's one of the most important things that they need. And then just trying to navigate the stimulus funding. There's a lot of confusion around that. So we were able to provide some resources and connections. Local banks and credit unions really stepped up to provide some funding and help small businesses navigate. The larger banks, tended to wait until the second or third round to
Yeah.
really. It's been it's been really cool to see the response to the local businesses from other local businesses, and then also to watch some of them pivot. The uptick in CSAs, for example, that's community supported agriculture, where people can subscribe to a farm and get a share of
Right.
their produce each week. There's been a huge uptick in that. We've also seen there's a group called Pivot Produce down in Tucson. They shifted from distributing food mainly to restaurants and food purveyors to doing home delivery services. Dan's Ice and Dairy out in Levine, they're doing milk delivery. You know, they've got the old milkman
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
delivery system back in action. It's so cool. And then fellow green businesses like yourself, and Fabric, which is located in Tempe, they've done a huge pivot where they're actually making PPE gowns for healthcare workers.
Oh, that's fabulous.
As well. So it's been really amazing to see the local response to this pandemic, and to see how businesses can shift their operations to being part of the solution. So there's absolutely a silver lining. You know, I think there's going to be a lot in the next year that is going to be telling. You know, we don't know what the future is going to hold for the local business community. There's a lot of numbers being thrown out and a lot of statistics about how many businesses will close, and you know, it's hard to predict the future there. You know, but the key thing is whenever we as consumers and citizens can support these local businesses with our dollars, that we need to do that. And if we can't support them with our dollars, it's supporting them with our thanks. A social media, like, you know, just a note of support is huge.
That's an interesting suggestion. Just let people know you with it and you care about their future and you care about their business. That's really, really important. We did a thing where we just sold out to the walls and we couldn't get production going again because alcohol and hydrogen peroxide, two of our key ingredients, are vital to the medical community. And so we just told people, you want to buy ahead, it's going to happen. And the response was amazing. You know, they believe in you. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, wow, that is great to know. You guys know we're coming back. We're
Yep.
coming back. We're not going away. Yeah.
We we've seen that too with several other like online retail businesses. You know, a couple
Mm-hmm.
had sent out some, you know, email saying, you know, we could use some support, and one of the businesses had responded back that they got more orders than they did on Black Friday.
Yeah.
So off of a simple email saying we could use some support. So yeah, you know, it's obviously businesses need dollars to survive, but really just that appreciation that they're there goes a long way.
I'm wondering too, are you, and it's just a thought that just struck me, have you thought about offering like sessions, whether webinar or, yeah, it would have to be on webinar or on Zoom, where people can get together and sort of peer to peer talk about what their issues are locally? You know, what's
That's a
going,
It's a great idea. We have been doing webinars with tools and resources, and you know, more of the kind of traditional speaker, you know, with time for
yeah,
Q&A. But one of the projects that we were trying to launch before COVID, or we're getting in motion, was to bring together the green businesses. So businesses like yourself, and others that have been certified or were going through the certification process, trying to get them together to meet and
right.
share experiences, and you know, maybe where they were struggling and how could the group help. So I would love that idea of doing it virtually. I think it could really work. There's a neat thing I think that happens when people come together in a group and help each other problem solve. You know, as an organization and as a leader of this program, you know, I can go in and talk to a business and give them recommendations, but when they see other businesses implementing those ideas, and when they hear from them, you know, the struggles that they had, it goes a little bit further. So we love that peer-to-peer learning experience whenever we can get it. It's a great idea.
Yeah, and if you held it to like about, I'm thinking about what our screen holds ideally in a Zoom context. You had six come together and say, what's going on? You know, what are you guys doing? How has this affected you? Get the conversation going, because there is going to be a tomorrow. That is,
Yeah.
we are going to get through this. And how's everybody else feeling? We're doing a lot of, we're all working dispersed from truce. We're all working from home, but we touch base every day. And it's like, that's become so important. It's allowed us to actually grow through this because we're still there. And I would love to. That's what I've been doing. I've been talking to local businesses. I was talking to Jeff from PB Americana. And Max 6 is doing a thing where it's talking to all of us who are Max 6 community members. What are you doing? How's it working out? You know, there's lots of outstretched virtual hands. And Local First Arizona has always been my go-to place for when I need information, when I need, you know, what's going on, participating in the events. You guys run fabulous events. I just was thinking, I wouldn't mind talking to a few other businesses there and seeing what they're doing that are not, they don't have to be green. That they are green would be great, but they don't have to be.
Yeah.
We're all small businesses that have been kind of knocked over backwards.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great idea. I think, you know, that group, we're all in it together,
mhm.
mentality is very strong right now, and it does help to talk and share.
Yeah. So going forward, have you guys talked among the staff there at Local First? Where do you see yourselves going? Because it's going to be a different world.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very different. The businesses that are going to come in, the businesses that are going to just kind of melt away.
Yeah.
What are the discussions like around your virtual office space?
It's a great question. So, you know, as I kind of mentioned, we had that triage, recovery, resiliency approach,
Mhm.
and we're getting into the recovery phase right now. Recovery, reopening. So there's a lot of discussion around, you know, tools can we provide the businesses to help them through that process. But looking ahead, you know, if we're looking ahead to the fall, we
Mhm.
generally have our rural policy forum that's usually held in August. We had to cancel that. Our fall festival, which is a huge event for us, we have over 20,000 people attend that. It's a big vendor fair in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah.
Uh, Highlights a lot of local businesses. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with that right now. We don't really know what's going to happen with mixers. The webinars and educational component have been pretty easy to shift online, but there's so much in-person gathering that we do that is so important that it's just uncertain right now. So it's a tough question to answer. On the resiliency side, of course, now we're looking at long term what our business is going to need a year from now, a year and a half from
Yeah.
now, years from now. And again, you know, it's so hard, you know, even in you know, pre-COVID times, it was hard to predict some of those things that businesses could be feeling. It's even harder now. So I think it's preparing them for what if this happens again, or if something similar happens again. How, you know, how can a business best be prepared? How does environmental sustainability and climate change, how does that play a role? What are the tools that we can provide businesses to reduce their energy use, have better air quality in their buildings, keep their employees safe, obviously, and their customers safe? So there's a ton to work on.
I know. I know. I think about that. There's a lot to do, and we've talked among ourselves. Do we see ourselves going back into a central location? And it's like, no, we
Yeah.
really don't. We do see ourselves remaining dispersed, working through Zoom, going down to the warehouse when we need to. But really, I think we're thinking about disassembling even the office space there, which
Mm.
allows us to extend warehouse space. It's a whole new way. Pivot is the word you were using, and pivot is the whole idea. It's going to be different, you know. So this is
Yeah.
kind of an interesting time to be introspective, to be reflective, and to be resilient, as you said. Yeah, you guys are you've done an amazing job right from the start, and you've been there from the start. And honestly, I'm so proud to be a part of your organization. I'm proud to be a part of your green program. I'm so proud of what you guys have accomplished over the years. Uh, Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Diane.
you.
It means a lot to us to hear from the businesses how much they appreciate the work that we're doing. We all do it because we care very strongly about the local business community. Um, and to know that we're able to provide, the ideas that we have and put them into action, and to them to be effective, and the businesses to see results from them is huge. It's what we want at the end of the day.
And I remember the first thing I did was get my business license. The second thing I did was join Local First when Kimber had just started it. And, I'll be there forever. A question for you personally, Helene. This is a personal question. Personal.
Sure.
If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would you want to have dinner with? Who do you want to talk to?
That's a really good question.
Who do you want to get to know?
You're gonna make me think a little bit here, Diane.
I know, a little off the tracks here. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you two.
Okay.
One of them is my uncle Jake. He was actually my great uncle, so my grandfather's brother. He was a older farmer, grew up on the East Coast. My family's from the East Coast, and he was a character, to say the least. He passed away when I was pretty young, so I didn't get the full effect of Uncle Jake. But I would like to have dinner and probably a beer with him,
All right.
just to hear some of the fun stories that he had. And both him and my grandfather were tomato farmers on the East Coast. And then my second one, it would be Al Gore. I went. Yeah.
Yeah, good choice.
Last year, I attended the Climate Reality Project training in Los Angeles. The Climate Reality Project is a program that he started with a group of other people to really talk about how you talk about climate change. How can you get attention brought to it and speak to people that might not believe in it, or might not think it's as critical as it is. And it was an amazing experience. He was actually there leading a lot of the sessions. And just to hear the work he has done and the things that he has been through, and how close he got, obviously, to being president and being able to implement some big things, and not being able to succeed, and also how gracious he was about that. And to still be working in this realm and to still be as passionate and optimistic about it is pretty inspiring. So I think anybody that's working in a change-making organization, there's ups and downs. You have moments where it's overwhelming and it's tough, and you don't know if you can do it anymore. And then you have moments where you see the ideas come to fruition and you see that, change is possible. It's a huge thing. So I got a lot out of just being at that training and hearing him speak about kind of that continuing on. It was pretty powerful.
You gotta send him a note, say, hey, if you're ever in the Phoenix area, I'd really love to have lunch with you. When you
Sure.
admire your heroes, let them know. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer in letting your heroes know. So
Yeah.
let them know. Helene,
That's great.
thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate Local First Arizona. So stay safe, be safe, wash your hands. Okay.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you for all your work with Truce. It's really incredible to have a great organization like yours that is walking the talk in the community. So thank you for that.
We just roll on. We're just going to roll on through this, and we will make it through to the other side, whatever it looks like. And
That's awesome.
everybody, thank you for listening, for watching, and we'll be back again because Truce talks.